talking about measurement now. We went from money and now we're going to be talking about measurement. So today we're going to be talking about exploring length. And we're going to start with a warm-up. So get out a piece of paper, write these questions down, and try to solve them. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that right now. Go ahead. Okay, you have about a minute and a half left. Okay, try to finish up. Remember, we should have set these up vertically. On the next slide, I'm going to show you the answer so you can check your work. All right. So, 25 plus 83, you should have gotten the answer of 108. 163 plus 722, 885. And 96 plus 41, 137. Keep your paper out, you're going to need it for the next part. Think and write. How can you measure how long something is? For instance, this snake, how might we measure it? Go ahead and jot some ideas down. How can you measure how long something is? Go ahead, you have about a minute. All right. We should have talked about, you guys, some of the ideas that you had. We could have been talking about that we don't always have to use a ruler or something to measure things. We could measure things with things around the house, like pencils or M&Ms. Or we could think about maybe using pieces of cereal. How long is a pencil in pieces of cereal? So problem number 1, which item is longer, an unsharpened pencil or a pen? Measure each item with paper clips and compare. So I decided to use an unsharpened pencil. I didn't have a pen, so I'm going to use an unsharpened pencil and a pencil. So here, I measured them with actual rulers. So here is an unsharpened pencil, and here's a sharpened pencil. Notice the sharpened pencil is actually shorter. When we measure things, you guys, we have to make sure that we line them up with the zeros and that we look at where the end is. So right here at the point, that's 13, and this is in centimeters. So that's what cm stands for. And the sharpened pencil is 13, the unsharpened is 14. So when I would write it, I would write 14 centimeters and 13 centimeters. Units of measurement right here are the centimeters. So let's actually do some paperclip measurement, you guys. You ready to do? Let's see. So here I have an index card, and I use paper clips. About 3 paper clips long is an index card. Here I have an eraser. An eraser is about 1 full paper clip and a half long. Let's practice. How many paper clips long is this marker? Have it in your heads. You guys ready? You should have got 3.5 paper clips long. 1, 2, 3.5. How many paper clips long is a notebook? All right, you ready? You should have got 5 paper clips long. Let's try another one. How many paper clips tall? We're not doing the length, we're doing the height this time. How many paper clips tall is this paper? You guys ready? Good. 1, 2, 3.5. You ready to measure some objects and talk about them? Measuring objects. Look at 2 pictures below, right here. I have a pencil that is yellow and a pencil that is blue. What can you tell about the length of these 2 objects? They're the same, right? The length is the same. How can you measure these 2 objects to be sure? What could we do? You're right, we could use paper clips or other objects around the house, or even a ruler. Let's try another problem. Why is it not reasonable? Reasonable means why is it not smart to measure the length of an elephant using paper clips? How come it's not reasonable? The reason? No way! Elephants are too big. It would take too many paper clips to measure the elephant. Paper clips are too small. We need something bigger to measure the elephant. What might you think that we could use? Good, maybe a stick? Think about that. What other things? I'll let you jot some down if you want to, but we don't need to worry about that. Let's talk about unit of measure. The unit of measure is what you use to measure something. So here we have units of measure. You could use donuts as long as they're the same size to measure something. You could use pencils to measure something. You could use cubes. And these are all non-standard units of measurement. That means that they're not something we use every day to measure things. You don't go to the doctor's office and get measured by donuts. Instead, we have standard measurement with inches, feet, and yards. So non-standard, like I said, is anything that you use to measure the height or width of something, of an object, and it's not exact. So we use cubes or yarn, paper clips, shoes, pencils. We could say the bar is 4 feet long. The bar is 6 hand spans long. The pencil is 6 paper clips long. The pencil is 15 blocks long. So here they use blocks, they use paper clips. Here they used hands and feet. And these are all non-standard. On the other hand, we have standard, and that's a measure of height and width in something that is exact. We have a scale, measuring tape, a ruler. We could even measure with a scale in ounces or a thermometer. We use rulers, meter sticks, tape measures. We can also talk about weight. We use a scale, a balance scale, a food scale. Sometimes time we can measure too with a timer or a calendar or a clock. So how do we measure length? We always start at one end and we measure to the other side in a straight line. not something like this. We want them touching from one end to the other. So here is a ruler. We have ruler in millimeters, centimeters, and we have a ruler in inches. Which one's larger, centimeters or inches? You're right, inches are larger, and centimeters are much smaller. Notice that they're the same exact length, but it starts at 0 both sides, but the centimeters end at 30, and the inches end at 12. Let's talk about some vocabulary. Unit. A unit is an inch is a unit that can be used to measure the length of an object. Unit. Centimeter. Centimeter is a metric unit used to measure length, how long something is. This is 1 centimeter. Inch. This is 1 inch. Foot. There are 12 inches in 1 foot, so 1 whole ruler is 1 foot. Yard. There are 3 feet in 1 yard. A baseball bat is about 1 yard long. Meter. A meter is a metric unit used to measure length. A golf club is about 1 meter. So notice a meter is a little bit longer than a baseball bat, which is a yard. Length. Length is the distance from one end of the object to the other. Length. Right here to here. The length of a stamp is about 1 inch. Width. Width is the distance across an object. Height. Height is how tall something is, so you get your height measured when you go to the doctor. Nearest inch. The nearest inch, right here, like we're looking, it doesn't hit 1 exactly, or 2. We have to look, and we have to kind of round. We have to guesstimate. Is it closer to 1 or 2? In this case, it's closer to 2, so the nearest inch is about 2 inches long. And the same thing with centimeters. If it's not hitting the exact centimeter, we have to talk about measuring to the nearest centimeter. To the nearest centimeter, the paperclip is about 4 centimeters long. It's closer to 4 than 3. So what I want you guys to do after this lesson is I want you to go explore length. Go around your house and get some items and pick what type of measurement tool you want to use. Remember that you can use paper clips like what we used in some of these examples, or you can choose to use cereal, you can choose to use anything around the house to measure some objects, just for fun. But remember, we're talking about exploring length, measurement, lesson 1.